Welcome to Pigeon River Farm, doing farming right. I'm Robert Brown, the owner of Pigeon River Farm. Thank you for viewing. Good evening. In tonight's episode, we're going to discuss regenerative farming. We've been practicing regenerative farming for a long time. I guess we didn't know what we were actually doing that, but we have been practicing most of the techniques that are currently in the certification we're going for. Well, regenerative farming is important for the overall environment, so it's something we're very proud of. But if it doesn't tie into local food, it really means nothing. And one of the things we wanted to focus on is local food, and how if you have ability to garden or you have can put together a small farm, we all need to participate in the local food movement. It's absolutely paramount that we actually get involved in producing some of the highest quality food, because right now the majority of our food comes from these mega food companies. They kind of cornered the market. We don't have any control over quality. Company that on the other end of the spectrum that comes to mind here, we've done work for, and is Organic Valley. Organic Valley is a Wisconsin-based company. It's a relatively large company, I guess, from an individual state standpoint, but from a national or world, it's relatively small. But they have great stewardship programs, believe a lot in regenerative farming. So tying ourselves in with Organic Valley has been a good decision. Well, let's talk about specifically about local food. In other words, produced locally and sold locally. That has been the mainstay of our farming operation here. And we focus on three different areas. It's our poultry eggs, our beef, and our vegetables. And vegetables are a really excellent way to enter into the local food market. Over the years, we were actually a pretty good sized producer, I guess, for our acreage of winter squash. We produce winter squash for Organic Valley, fairly successful. It was a good profit center. One of the other areas we participate into the specifically into the local food market is our high tunnels. We produce a significant amount of food out of there every summer, a whole variety. We produce everything from potatoes to pickles to hot peppers and peas, beans, the whole variety. And that is sold into the local market. Brings revenue back into the farm, and in turn provides our neighbors and friends with a high quality food. So, what I've looked at over the years of actually farming, and specifically the vegetable farming, we've done a lot of field crops, of course, and as you see some examples here of the field crops. But what has really treated us best is the high tunnel. High tunnel is one of the highest producers of food per square foot, with still an environmentally sound. There's a lot of these innovative systems that I see out there where they're industrial based, indoor growing of food. A great idea, and I'm not against it in any way, but I see some downsides to it. It's energy consumer. We're not taking advantage of anything Mother Nature can give us. Where the high tunnel, I think, is a ultimate and great compromises. We still grow all the food in the soil, what Mother Nature provides for us. The biggest, I would say, the biggest energy input, other than irrigation, is strictly the production at one point of the plastic and the steel. But it has longevity. Steel is lifetime, and the plastics are about every 5 years. So when you plant it into the soil, and the regenerative model that we've put forth here is overwintering with the poultry, as I've described in many other videos, and that has been absolutely phenomenal. So all of the feed that we purchase that goes in during the winter months, that manure ultimately comes out the back end and gets integrated into the soils and then mixed in very thoroughly with the birds. Then once March comes, the birds are now in the process of being moved out to pasture, and at that point, we start the working up of the soil, getting everything, possibly even putting in a quick cover crop to get some green manure in there, and we start with our summertime. So there we are with two buildings and a very nice return. We cycle it so it get utilized 365 days a year. Of course, winter months, poultry, summer months, producing vegetables. And we're talking tons of green vegetables that we put out every year and thousands of dozens of eggs. So, off a relatively small investment, I always believed, and this is something I'd like to share with everybody. I really think you could start a small farm if you had 5 to 10 acres and 4 high tunnels. I think if you put together 4 high tunnels and you could produce enough vegetables between the outside acreage and the under plastic acreage to actually earn a decent living. You have to work pretty hard for it, and it's not an easy job. But it would be a very good option. It would be something I would consider if I was to start all over again. That would be a very viable approach. When you think about the cost of tractors and combines and all the other equipment to be in farming, and then you think about the investment for a high tunnel. Typically 30 by 72, don't quote me on this, but usually about installed, put most of the labor in yourself, you're going to have about $5,000 to $7,000 per high tunnel. So say for under $30,000, you could easily put together 4 high tunnels with some irrigation in there and have an excellent profit center. So that's kind of putting numbers into something that could be very viable, producing literally tons of food every year. And that food can nicely be put into the local food market. So that's what I want to share with you this evening. In the future, we'll be talking about our beef on a local food basis and poultry on a local food basis. Well, I thank you and have a most wonderful evening.